Hi, and welcome to Thursday Comics. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics. I am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee, and Jack Kirby's Star Warriors, The Adventures of Adam Star and the Solar Legion. I'm also the author of Witchman, a new superhero comic book which recently had a successful Kickstarter campaign. The Mighty Thor, number 142. From the edge of infinity he comes, possessing all the blockbusting powers of the Fantastic Four, the scourge of the Super Skrull. You might recognize this cover. It was referenced in the Hellboy movie. They had a Hellboy comic book within the movie, and it was basically a copy of this cover. It's a pretty cool cover, very powerful, very direct, very poppy. A letter writer in a future issue will note that the Super Skrull has crossed eyes in here, and in the letters column, Stan makes a little, kind of joking reply and asking Jack Kirby why he drew him with crossed eyes. But this is a hallmark of Vince Colletta's inking. So it's, it's pretty unfair to put that on Jack, even if it was in a sort of half-joking way. The Mighty Thor, the Scourge of the Super Skrull, a modern, majestic masterwork by Stan the Man Lee and Jack King Kirby, embellished by Vince Colletta, lettered by Artie Simek. Again, the past couple issues have sort of been a reversion to a formula of early Marvel Comics of 3 years prior. So we're facing an old Fantastic Four villain. Super Skrull was, from the early days of the Fantastic Four. At this point, they've moved on to Galactus and the Inhumans, and Super Skrull was kind of a hallmark of their early days. And now Thor, who had just been through this cosmic odyssey, is fighting the Super Skrull. Again, not even a Thor villain, a Fantastic Four villain, and sort of a kind of dusty Fantastic Four villain at that. And we have like another sort of earlier Marvel kind of thing where you have this hipster, this young motorcycle tough, giving Thor a hard time and daring him to race. And Thor says, hey, I'll give you a ride, and sort of hops on the bike, spins his hammer like a helicopter, takes them into the air. This motorcycle rider is screaming the whole way, I want to get down in one piece. And Thor's smiling. Jack, when he was a kid, got taken for a ride in a small airplane and flew over New York with a friend of his. So I think maybe he's drawing on that experience a little bit, and they're back down. And it also reminds me of the sort of, passive-aggressive things that Big Bear does in Forever People, where the superhero kind of has a little bit of fun psychologically torturing some people who, had the nerve to insult them in some way. And so Thor's, taught this guy a lesson, and now he's moving on, turns back into Don Blake. And we get this really nice shot of Loki in exile. He is exiled in limbo. Now, the last time we saw him was in Thor Annual number 2, and he was flying through space. He was frozen in space with the Absorbing Man. Now he's in limbo, and I feel like there was a point where he was in limbo. So I don't know if that was like 2 exiles ago, 2 punishments ago, or what. But it feels like maybe Jack and Stan kind of, lost track for a minute where exactly Loki was exiled, but we get the point. Loki, is sick of his exile, and so he can't go anywhere with his body, but he can reach out with his mind, as we learned when he placed his spirit self into the body of the Destroyer. And so now he's reaching out again, and is lucky that a spaceship happens to be passing by, and it's the spaceship of the Super Skrull. And Loki kind of gets in there and sort of whispers in his ear and tells him to go to Earth to fight the Thunder God, and sort of offering the Super Skrull and the Skrull Empire Asgard as a prize for them to conquer. So even though Super Skrull isn't exactly a villain that Thor has any kind of grudge with, it is part of an established motif from this series that, Loki is sort of like the devil on the shoulder of some other villain and pokes them in the direction he wants them to go, and uses them as a cat's paw for his own goals, and sometimes gives them a power upgrade. And so now the Super Skrull is heading to Earth to do battle with the Thunder God. And of course, the Super Skrull has all the powers of the Fantastic Four. So he's using some Human Torch power to, melt some trucks, set fire to things. Don Blake sees what's going on. There's a flash of light in his office, springs into action against the Super Skrull. Now he's using his thing powers and starts throwing bits of buildings at Thor. Really spectacular half-page panel here. Then we cut back to Asgard. And I'm kind of thankful for this because, again, I'm not really grooving with the stories the past couple issues, these sort of, villain of the week, villain of the month battles. They just, they're not doing it for me compared to all the, super cool stuff that's been going on for the past couple years in Thor. But thankfully, we're cutting back to Asgard, and Odin has a quest that he's going to send Sif and Balder on, a quest they're going to go on together. This is all we see of it now, but it's going to, blossom into a pretty cool two-parter in the next two issues. And pairing them up here, we're sort of getting a little hint that Balder is starting to develop a crush on Sif, a sort of, he's almost sort of like a Lancelot figure, and Sif is Guinevere, and Thor is Arthur. This sort of courtly love, the love that he has for, the lady fair, for his best friend's girlfriend, Jesse's girl. The Super Skrull is utilizing some Reed Richards stretching, Thor's coming back at him. This is almost kind of like a Thor versus the Fantastic Four issue, which actually would have been more interesting to me. You could almost turn this into that with some adjustments to the artwork. Super Skrull has turned himself invisible, like the Invisible Woman, Sue Richards, and he's punching away at Thor. It's a pretty good fight. It's, Jack Kirby doing a comic with two super beings in combat. I wish that stuff like this was going on at DC at the same time that they were doing this at Marvel. Thor's calling on the power of the storm, which is something he's done in other issues, in like earlier issues of the series. But Kirby's graphics just keep getting more and more spectacular as the 60s go on. And he sort of, puts with the rain, he puts the damper on his Human Torch powers. Now he's hammering away at an invisible force field, just all out battle, pretty fun. Just the depictions of combat are really nice. These sort of, broken teeth of the Super Skrull, great face getting punched. Nice job on the inking by Vinnie Coletta. And then Thor is like doing one of those supersonic mallet spins that creates sort of a cosmic energy, an anti-force, rendered really nicely here. Really dramatic. Puts the whammy on the Super Skrull, and that anti-force that he creates just sends him hurtling up into space, back into his spaceship, and out of Thor's life. And Thor is wondering where all this came from. I feel yon foe was not the enemy true. Another there is, far more sinister, far more deadly, one who will never rest till the Thunder God be crushed. Another there is, some Yoda cadence there. Loki is thwarted and unhappy, and so this is also sort of heralding a return of Loki, and Loki will be back in the series as a major ongoing presence pretty soon. Next, thou must not miss the Enchanters. Now the Enchanters, this is what the Doctor ordered. I'm on board with this. Wait till you see these guys. Tales of Asgard, still stellar. We're counting down to the final issue. We who are about to die. Face it, faithful ones. Stan the Man Lee and Jack King Kirby have done it again, aided by Vince Coletta, inker, Artie Simic, letterer. And so we're getting all these, this rain of fireballs down on this village outside of Xanadu. Mogul is gloating, loving all the suffering he's causing. And he's got this crazy cosmic mythic cannon that's firing those bolts. Just really, and I mean, look at these drawings. Just really exquisite stuff. Kirby is firing on all cylinders in the imagination department and the drawing department in these final Tales of Asgard installments. And then there's this plague canister that Mogul's taking, and he's threatening to drop some on this guy. Great looking design on that bottle, the sort of crystal skull vodka. He kicks this guy out of the room, and then he gets on his flying device. In centuries to come, those who survive shall tell of Mogul's flight this night. Men will speak of it in hushed whispers, around countless campfires, in countless lands, and in their mortal ignorance. When seeking to describe the craft I ride, they shall call it a flying carpet. thus shall it be known throughout our endless ages. Such a great looking panel here. And yeah, this is, Jack has done this before of taking the 1001 Nights idea of like a flying carpet and then sort of making it like, people saw it and didn't know what to call it. So they called it a flying carpet, but it's actually, some kind of flying device. He's done this in like an issue of Fantastic Four with Prester John. He's done it in some of his 50s comics. And he's doing it here to spectacular effect. And Mogul is just looking amazing. Just, Kirby in excelsis. Kirby on the grandest scale possible. I mean, this is unforgettable stuff. Thor and Fandral and Hogan are fighting off these brigands. And then now what was set up in the previous issue, this army of, horsemen of the apocalypse, these demon riders led by Ali Bar, who is carrying the battle standard of Hogan's tribe. Everything is coming to a head next to the death. Just really great installment, really great build up for, the final battle and the final chapters of Tales of Asgard. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics. I Am Stan, a graphic biography of the legendary Stan Lee, and Jack Kirby's Star Warriors, The Adventures of Adam Star and the Solar Legion. I'm also the author of Witchman, a new superhero comic book which recently had a successful Kickstarter campaign. I'll see you next Thursday.